We all seen that. Did you see it?
Nah, and I don't think I put that one in the chat.
Okay, that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
But that one is definitely something that needs some explaining because that since I've watched that, my head's been going.
Yeah.
Let's kind of scratch into that if you guys don't mind. So the economics behind that, the reason why we're in this position today, is not because we just can't get ahead. It's because it's been built so that we can.
Man, I saw something the other day that was saying that the system is not broken. You know, the system is not broken. The system was created that way. You know what I'm saying? And that really sat with me. Like, I really, I was like, wow. Because a lot of people say, fix the broken system, fix it. You telling the person who created the system to fix the system that they created a certain way.
And you think it's broken because it's just not working for you.
What we need to do, I believe, and this is this is a long conversation, but
It is.
in terms of economics, first of all, the first problem is we don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't understand it. But in the economic system that we're living in, so we got to look at, again, so I didn't watch Wealth Gap, but I was a poli-sci major, and I was actually an econ major first.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if we think about the fact that we were 3/4 of a man until, you know what I mean, the date precedes me or whatever, but we've been slaves since the 1500s, we became free in like the late 1800s, and we were living in separate quarters until the late 1960s.
Right.
If we can think about that and just think about the amount of wealth that, not that we haven't been able to touch, but that they've been able to build, because economics is a comparative game.
Yep.
Why will we don't even have to get that deep into the game to realize that systematically, like, we're playing catch up from the start. We've been playing catch up from the start.
That's the point right there, man.
Like, we were not allowed to build any wealth. By the time we were free, that just threw me off. By the time we were free, maybe you got to introduce him here in a second.
Yeah.
But by the time we were free, like 60% of America's like land was distributed.
Yeah.
Like 80% of like the wealth was already distributed.
The system was already built.
It was already built. Yeah. Like we are not incumbents of the system. We are, we're what's the word? Like we're penetrators. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're coming in and we're just we weren't supposed to be here. We weren't supposed to be a part of the system. You know what I mean?
We're trying
and on this level. It talks about one of those. The Wealth Gap talks about an interesting point where it said, for so long, black people were wealth.
Yeah,
we were part of this. We were part
of
the system.
What made them? Yeah, what made people wealthy?
We built this country.
Yeah,
they built this country on our backs.
Literally. So it's just so interesting to me, the topic of economics, and funnily, like, interestingly enough, how simple economics is.
Bro, it's the basis of it.
Kind of scary.
It's basic stuff.
How I love to explain it real quick. How I love to explain it is this: you make an economics decision every single day when you every transaction made was an economics decision. When I bought today versus like when I bought food, I bought McDonald's versus waiting for something. Why I had to make an economic decision. How long would it take me? It would take me faster to get McDonald's versus something else that I had to wait for. Boom, that's an economic decision. Another one, how much money did I have to spend at that moment? How much money was I ready to spend? At that decision, I made an economic decision, and we make them all the time. Right. I tell people, like, it's really simple as when you go into a store and you choose Jiffy, not Jiffy, but Centrella over Jiffy peanut butter. You make that decision based off the economic.
I said, or just the store brand.
Or just the store brand. Yeah.
And I think to that point, that's something I want to talk about. is because again I was a poli-sci major. I'm a poli-sci major, like that's what I graduated with. But I study economics, and my last class was on the one of my last classes in college was on the political economy of education. But I don't even want to get into the education part because we can look at everything from the prison, you know what I'm saying, school to prison pipeline, the whole nine. We could just kind of break that down. But political economy is the space that we need to understand and dominate, because not only is every decision economic decision, like there's factors that go into it. So, you know, it's cost, is time, those are economic factors, but there's another factor, politics. So now, who am I buying this from, and what does this dollar impact? How many times can this dollar circulate through the interest that I have? You know what I mean? So right now we're talking about the fact that we don't have, like, there's no equality for us. You know what I mean? How, instead of buying McDonald's, why wasn't the first thought, who can I spend this money with that looks like me?
That's true.
That's the problem.
That has my interests at heart.
That's true.
Definitely the problem. I was watching this documentary. You know, it was a video.
What's the? Do you remember the name of it?
It was on Breakfast Club with Dr. Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson.
Right. He talked about the problem between black people is real quick. We get a $1,200 check. We give it straight back to the white man. We bounce our money twice times. On average, the white man bounces it 8 to 12 times between himself before he gives it to someone else.
To somebody else, yeah.
That's the scary thing, and that's something that we don't.
Well, this is one of the things.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is something I've been pushing since I was probably just getting into college. You know, excellence within the black community, right? And the reason why I say that is because McDonald's is McDonald's today, not only because of the resources they were able to allocate to form their business, a worldwide, global powerhouse that is McDonald's, but also because of excellence, right?
Because of what?
Excellence.
Excellent.
They found a way to create the burger within seconds. Right?
McDonald's University. That's how they were able to franchise.
Yeah.
That's
And so,
a real estate company. That's really great.
exactly.
People don't learn.
And so the thing about it is excellence within our community. We are excellent. We just need to figure out and learn how to own it. Black people have invented a lot of the stuff that you see here today.
Yeah,
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? And because of, the times or whatever you want to blame it on, we were not able to own those things. And so today I believe that what we should be thinking about is, first of all, how to create a culture, even more of a culture of excellence within our community, to where we are so good, right? We're so good that it's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? We're so good at what we do. We're creating so much. We're doing so much, and we're owning it at the same time. That's when we'll be able to create stuff for ourselves so that we'll be able to spend with ourselves.
I agree. To your point, back in the 1960s, before the integration of black and white people, we had that. We had over 500 bus lines.
Yes.
And we had all of these amazing things. We had black-owned communities, our neighborhoods. Definitely, Black Wall Streets, not hoods. We had community, right? He Dr. Anderson, to explain the difference between communities and hoods, right? Community, they make their own influence,
exactly,
everything. And the scary thing is now we don't have that,
right?
So that's I agree.
Well,
I totally agree.
There's two sides to the coin, right? And this is the question we ought to ask ourselves in every situation. Okay, is this situation because of a system that was set in place?
Yes.
If it is, right, we need to get to the core root of that system and try to influence that.
Definitely.
Or is it a situation to where we need to, step up and look in the mirror? Because there's two sides to the coin. Because we are in a system, we can't help but to understand that these things are the way they are. It's kind of like, who do you blame?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think we as black people need to be doing both simultaneously. We literally cannot just say, oh, it's just us. Spiritually we can. But in reality of the world today, we can't just say it's just us, because obviously there's been a system that's why everything is like it is today.
Right.
But at the same time, I believe truly that there is things that we can do to influence that. Especially with this thing that we have right here. Not only that, but with resilience that we have as a people that is very, 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 distinct to our culture. And I'm talking about across the board. Our resilience is unlike anything else.
When he was talking, and he was bringing up that point, and about or why I made the decision, or why people make the decision based off of proximity, accessibility. That's a big problem. That's a big portion of it too, because as black people, black companies, we don't have that many companies. For example, there is a McDonald's, there's a Burger King, there is a Walmart in proximity to just about every corner or every community that you have. But how many of those, restaurants are black owned, or those stores are black owned? And so for me, I was talking with a friend, and he was like really upset about it. He's like, man, like, it's troubling how, we can't buy black, or we can't, purchase things like that. I said, man, like, he had on a headband, and it was Nike at the time. And I asked him, I said, how did you buy that headband? He said, oh, like, I had actually like ran into this random store, seen it, picked it up. I was like, perfect. Accessibility. If it was something black owned, you would have picked it up too. But because it's not there in your face, you're not able to get your hands on it as fast as. Yeah. So they're able to make things in mass. They're able to have multiple distribution channels and things of that sort. And not saying that we don't, but I'm saying that what it is the accessibility piece. What you thinking?
So this is the thing. We know that. We've known that for years. We understand that better than they understand that, because we are living in the plight of the situation. Like, this is.
They don't even know it's a problem.
They don't care. They don't even care. Like,
they really don't care.
Yeah. They could care less. So with that in mind, and the fact that they don't care, we need to ask ourselves a question from a political standpoint. Now, this is a political standpoint, because this is political economy. Is this economic decision that I'm going to make? Am I willing to invest the time, the energy, to making sure that my dollar goes into the right place? Because if we look at it purely from an economic standpoint, they built a system so that you will do that.
Yes.
They built a system so that you will make the quick fire move and not think about where you're spending your dollar. And it goes right back into their system.
That's true. Right. That's a good point.
That's what they want to happen. So we have to actively think, like, bro, I tried to wear all black this week, like all like clothing from all black businesses. This is Melly, y'all check them out. More equality, less ignorance. Yeah. We hit. But, and you know what I'm saying? I'm in being too easy next episode. So y'all already know the vibes. But I consciously did that. And I realized, like, I've been a terrible friend. I've been a terrible friend. I've been a terrible supporter of the black community, because I don't have enough clothing. I don't have enough goods that are black. Yeah. Like, I haven't bought black. I haven't, like, from a political standpoint, this was the first week that I decided, like, I am going to consciously make the decision to buy from my people. And not to say that I'm othering anybody else. I still gotta go to Kroger, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain avenues that you can't
it's an economy,
you can't go around, right? But at the same time, I can, in situations where I know I can buy black, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to try my hardest to buy black. Whether it's a franchise, whether it's a small business, whatever. You have to go out of your way. And that's where political economy gets into play, comes into play. You get what I mean?
Did you see that Netflix special that Killer Mike did, where he only wanted to buy black?
Beautiful.
And it was in Atlanta, by the way.
Bro,
it was in
crazy
Atlanta.
Though.
And in that, like, literally all he wanted to do, he said, I'm gonna go, I don't know if it was a week or whatever, but it was a whole week of just buying black.
Man.
And he ran into a lot of problems. And that's why I allude to or conclude that there's not enough of black companies. There's not enough so that people can purchase these things. So therefore, the consciousness of our dollar staying in our community long enough it's a fairy tale.
Well, before we always trying to talk at one time.
Go ahead,
but check this out, man. It's a thing that'll have to happen over a period of time. Right? They call it catching up. I think it's just us waking up, to be completely honest. Because the thing about it is, once you start buying, once you start using your black dollar to buy black, what does that do? That strengthens the black economy.
Absolutely.
And then also we all have to be in unison on that tip, because now, let's say Melly or Too Easy, more black dollars are being spent there, we're able to expand. Then now you can start buying more quantity. You can start getting lower costs on your stuff. You can probably get flagship. You can get your product to people more. You can make your product more accessible, and business starts to grow. But if we don't, as a unit, say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just force ourselves, to do it and wake up and start buying, right? Everything, the same cycle is going to keep happening. Companies are not going to be able to get funded.
So it's a play on consciousness. I like what you were saying there. It's a play on consciousness. It's a play on, we have to make that decision.
The conscious effort.
The conscious effort to say, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to support here. I'm going to actually do this when making this decision. But fellas, this has been a conversation that has been happening for years.
Right. Yeah. And
this conversation that we have had, people have been having this conversation for years. So, and what I'm analyzing is, I'm going back to the wealth gap. How, think about it. What was it in the beginning of, in slavery? The
18 when we was free from slavery.
So 1860.
Yeah, 1864.
Okay, 1864, 1865. And what I'm trying to get back is to where that $100 back then is now worth 3.5 mil. That's what I'm trying to analyze. So to think in that direction, yes, waking up, thinking conscious, but at the same time, there's still a level of problems. The wealth is still too far.
This is the thing. We got to stop trying to boil the ocean. And I feel like that's what we've been trying to do for years. We've literally been trying to boil the ocean and handle the whole problem, eat the whole burger in one bite. You know what I'm saying? We've literally been trying, and that's the problem, right? What we got to understand is that probably within our lifetime, the racial wealth gap is not going to close.
It's not.
And also another thing, we're outnumbered anyway.
That's true.
Why are we trying to boil the ocean and become an equal economic powerhouse with the people who, who use,
who oppressed us?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What we got to do is create our community. That's what we got to do, and stop trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah.
We are going to have a certain percentage of that wealth in this country, right? But the only way that we're gonna have it is if we each build it. And Claude Anderson said that. Focus on you. Build wealth within you. Spend with your people, and then things will start to change. Bro.
It's a slow system.
To that point, we also got to understand there's a system created against that.
That's
100%.
They give out car loans, student loans, all kind of loans to black people.
Yeah.
But they don't give out loans. They barely give out loans to black people for business loans.
Business loans.
That's the problem.
In that same token, in that same conversation, the biggest benefit behind that is that we're still looking for their money. We're still looking for their income, and we still think we need it. And the reason why is because we haven't made the conscious decision to become selfish enough to say, I'm going to only support us. You got to think about it.
Right.
If we all decided that we were going to do an endeavor together and we didn't need outside money, all we would do is we would take our a percentage of our annual income and put it towards the business. We wouldn't need to have this bank to spot us. We wouldn't need it because we will say, hey, we're making this kind of decision on our own. And that's kind of sort of to some of the plans that I've created in the past. A lot of it doesn't believe in going to the banks. It believes in creating it on our own.
Right.
I was getting to that, but like what I was trying to say is, not us, not people like us, people in the hoods, people like that. They don't have the credit. They don't have all of this, all of this stuff that allows them to apply and get
leverage.
That's what I was trying to get.
We're coming from a place of privilege as well. Even
right.
from where
Yes.
That's
we
why I
got
was
four
trying
of
to
us
get
are African.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You from Gary, but you figured it out. You know what I mean? You have a beautiful mom, and she, you know what I'm saying? She pushed you to new heights. You know what I'm saying? So like, your story is a little bit different, even in that regard. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have access to the level of education, the exposure, and things like that, and even just like the home training that we were given as kids. Like, you gotta work. Like, you gotta work for something. You know what I mean? And, again, they've devaluated our communities. They have broken the black family as by the majority. And so those are things that we all have to work through. I did have a point though about, how do I put this, the loans thing. A lot of times black people don't know how to actually like
Go about
write a
that.
good business plan.
Bingo. I was just about to go there.
And even educated ones. This is not just for, people who went to college. 3/4 of the people that bring me business plans that went to college, they're trash business
Yeah.
plans. They're very bad at business. Education is not business. That's one thing that we have to realize. Like, yo,
Right. Just 'cause
how-
you're educated,
just
yeah.
because you're educated doesn't
Doesn't
mean
mean,
you're good
yeah.
at business.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
'cause that's just not the case. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to that, I think that a lot of times we don't even know the rules of the game, the rules of the engagement.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Working with Gary has been very helpful for me because it's been like a mini MBA program. Like, I literally know how to kind of start a business from scratch, figure out how to go to investors with
Legally,
a solid business
yeah.
plan, with a solid deck. Most people don't even have a deck of their business. They don't even understand business model canvases. They don't
Right.
understand
That's true.
who their key customers are, who their key
Target market.
Not even target market, vendors will be
Okay.
their key relationships, their product. Then you get into target market. Then you get into product mix. Then you get into like customer segmentation.
Right.
Then you know what I'm saying? Like, most people aren't breaking their business down like
Right,
in
right.
those key ways,
Yeah.
so that they have like at least a working board, working vision board of what their business is supposed to look like. And so I think that that's another thing we all have to. We definitely got to. I think everybody, whether you work for a business or you don't work for a business, because you're going to work for a business and invest, or you're just going to build a business
Build a
yourself.
business, yeah.
We all have
Invest.
to understand business.
100%.
first and
So,
foremost.
It's really
So-
economics. That's really what it is.
So real quick, how does people?
Business is not
How does
economics.
people?
No.
How do people start learning? Like, where do people go to start learning? Because think about it, like if somebody's watching this or whatever, and somebody's having a conversation and they say, well, you're saying that, nobody knows. Well, I don't know where to go. And this is a lot of times when we were talking about a lot of the how to go get business loans, and there's a lot of people just don't know.
Right.
Even though, and they really want to. They want to write a great business plan, but where do they go?
Right. I mean.
But I can tell, we can all, of course,
Yeah,
tell
we can
our
see
opinion
it.
on it,
Yeah.
because I think we've all done
No, I
business.
mean, I can just share the resources for
Right.
sure. Like, there's a bunch of resources on way to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Allison online, Allison.org. It's a free open source learning platform that nobody knows about for some reason, but you can literally go get certificates on business management, certificates on entrepreneurship, like there's so many like open source courses. I'm sure you guys have all heard of edX.
Yeah.
Where you can take classes from anywhere from Harvard to Cornell.
Yeah.
And
Lynda.com.
again,
Lynda.
Lynda,
Man.
Skillshare, like there's so many open source or subscription based platforms that we can go to go and get the information that we're looking for. I think a lot of times, and this is where, so Gary, even the work that I do, Gary is a business coach, but the first product he put out was not about business. It was about high performance. We have to change our mindset first, because before we get into business, like you could want to learn business all you want, but if you don't have the right habits, if you're not waking up early, if you're not, you know what I'm saying, focused on your KPIs throughout the day, if you don't understand what actions we call them ATMs, actions that matter. If you're not focused on the actions that matter every single moment of every single day, then you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Gary's got this course called, I'm sure you guys have all heard of Pareto's Principle. 80% of your
Yes.
outcomes come from 20% of your work.
Yeah.
Dude, if you don't know what the 20% you need to focus on is, though, none of it matters. None of the work you're doing matters, because there's a difference between activity and action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Activity, we can all run around. You know what I'm saying? I could go run 30 miles
Right.
at 12 minutes. You know what I'm saying? At 12 minutes a mile, that shit won't make me faster.
Right.
But if I run 5 miles at 8 minutes and 30 seconds and keep that interval high and make sure that I'm running in that
Strategy.
Yeah, you gotta have a strategy for how to grow and how you want to get better. And obviously, like I just did that. I said that because I run track, or
Yeah.
you know, what I'm saying, I run distance and stuff like that. But we have to have a mechanism for how to grow
Right.
before we even think about the business piece. So Gary starts that. He got this course called Champions Academy, and you can like buy that or whatever.
Yeah.
But he also has a business course called Champ CEO, and that's a high ticket course for entrepreneurs who are really trying to start a business. They need help with business acceleration. They need to kind of figure out that business plan piece. And this is not me selling his program, but there's a lot of different people that are just in the space doing that sort of thing. But even if you don't want to buy a course, which I think is better just because a lot of these people, when they make you buy a program, there's a specific reason. They've done the work. They've been there. They've done that. There's still free courses. There's so many free open source courses. There's so many free open source programs. My bad.
I feel like there's two things it also starts with. It starts with exposure and it starts with the mindset, right? And the exposure leads to the mindset, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys a story real quick. Basically, a few months ago, I would say in around November, I was doing a project in IPS schools. That's Indianapolis Public Schools, where we were going through the schools, walking through, and we were like changing doors or something like that, right? So it was our job to figure out what doors needed to be changed and blah, blah, blah. So one day we're walking through Meredith Nicholson middle school? Sorry, elementary school. And I'm walking through, counting the doors, and I'm with one of my coworkers who is white, right? And the kids were still there. It was around I would say noon. And as I'm walking through, there's a little boy, a black boy that walks up to me and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And his teacher was walking behind him, right? White teacher, right? And I look at him and just smiled, as I was getting ready to tell him what I was doing, the teacher comes by and says, "He doesn't need you bothering him. Go over there." It froze me for a minute. Because at that moment I realized what was happening. He wasn't able to get the type of exposure, or he almost wasn't able to get the type of exposure he needed. At that point, I froze. Couldn't make this up. I froze for a minute. And I was like, no, hold on, let me talk to him. I was like, yeah, I work for an architecture firm. I'm an urban designer. We're walking through here, checking out your doors, making the school more safe for you guys. Right? He goes, oh, that's cool. And walks away. Right? That's exposure. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
People need to know what's out there. And the system that has been set in place, without even thinking about it, they go, well, Scurry, go over there.
Yeah.
You don't need to mess with him. Yes, he does. He needs to ask me what I'm doing, and I need to tell him.
Yep.
We need to pour back in. And we talk about action steps and stuff like that. That's where it starts, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's two sides to the coin. There's one where you ask yourself what's going on, and then you kind of look at what has been set in place, the systems that have been set in place, and how they affect the certain outcome, right? In that case, I understood that what the system that has been set in place will tell that boy to go away.
Yeah.
But what I could do is say, stop, let me talk to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just pointing, it's looking in the mirror and taking action and taking initiative to do what we have to do.
Now, we've said a couple of things here. Do you guys think that currently the things that we said are the 100% solution to our problems?
I think the number one solution is we got to run back to God, man.
That's interesting.
We got to run back to God.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
Yeah.
In any way possible.
Yeah.
Us as a people, because some of the problems we're dealing with are wicked problems.
Yeah.
They're problems that create more problems,
Yep.
that create more problems for themselves, that create more problems. And I feel like the way we get away from that is by going back and talking to our maker.
I had this epiphany that if indeed, as black people, we were doing exactly and everything that we needed to do in order to have that pure relationship with God, do you think that we would be in the trouble that we're in? And I came to the quick conclusion, no. If we were doing exactly what we needed to do, we wouldn't have none of this demise. I thought about it and I broke it down in the analogy of a child. If you have a child that is obedient and is respectful and the rules and laws that you have for your household and for your group and is set out perfectly and he does them, you have no reason to be upset with him. But that disrespectful child, that child that goes against your rules, your bylaws, everything that you have set up, you punish that child. What you do? Time out, no TV, this and that. Whatever, ways you have of punishing that child until that child realizes hey, I can't continue to do these things and expect to not be in trouble.
Isn't there a parable in the Bible about the boy who his parents tell him to do things, he runs away, he goes
Prodigal
away.
son.
Yeah.
The prodigal son. You're literally.
So basically, and that's what Jesus was so good at, giving those parables, and not realizing that we are the prodigal son to Jesus or to our God, because we have gone away, and the story went how the prodigal son, at first he was doing good, he was living a lavish life, he was living a good life, and then all of a sudden life hit him, and then he's like almost about to eat food with the swine, with the pig, and then realize, hey, my father's rich. My father's wealthy.
I have a family.
I have a family.
Oh,
A very successful family, and that's where we're at. We're literally like about to eat food with the swine. And this is the analogy that I have as people. We have the ability to put that food down and go build a relationship with our God, with not our God. Let's just say with God, because we don't want to confuse anybody, with God, so that we can basically have that divine relationship again.
Yeah.
I think that's where the solution. I think that's where the things start to shift, because once that happens, I think that we'll start prospering at a different level, man. I think that the business ideas and the agendas that we have will snap into place.
Very interesting,
Oh
man.
man,
I love it.
I actually wrote like a workflow yesterday. I was on like a faith call. We discussed like the Quran and the Bible, and I think the flow kind of went something like you have to explore. So basically, read the books for knowledge. Once you read the books for knowledge, you have to analyze the books. You have to analyze what you just read. Once you analyze what you just read, you have to reflect on what you read. Once you reflect on what you read, that's where intention is birthed. And once intention is birthed, that's where action can be committed, because you're intentional, you're thinking right. Once you have once you have an action, that's when commitment comes. Now you have the intention, you've already made the action, now you have to get consistent, and that's where that commitment is key. And once you have commitment, then transformation has occurred.
Yeah.
Once you have transformed, then you know what I mean? Now it's on to the next action. Now we have to restart the process, but we're a little bit stronger, we're a little bit better because of it. But I think that us going back to God, our intentions are not pure. Like honestly, bro, like one thing that really made me sad during this whole, especially during COVID-19, before even the BLM thing, was watching how many people just like drinking habits went up, smoking habits went up, and just like watching people a lot, like what's the word I'm looking for? Just like willingly like throw themselves to like their vices just because they were stuck in the house. And it threw me off. And don't get me wrong, like I wasn't like, I'm not no angel, and like I was messing up at times too. But like there was a moment where I like looked on my social media and I just was like, yeah, I can't even be on here no more. I gotta get into my bag. I have to figure something out, because if y'all all doing this, think about what they're doing. Think about how they're getting ahead of us, because they're already ahead of us. Think about how other people are getting ahead. Wow. Think about the life that we're living right now. Wow. Is this and every decision we make moving forward, especially, is political.
Yeah.
Is it helping me and my people, or is this hurting me and my people?
That's
true. I want to say a point to both of your points, man. Bro, what you said was just so enlightening right now, man, about that workflow. And it kind of ties into a book that I read called Starting with Why, or Start with Why, by Simon Sinek. I think a big piece of our problem is that we as a people, we don't know our why. Imagine someone striving to get rich, striving to build wealth, just for themselves, because I want to. Does that hold as much weight as doing what you have to do here on earth, building wealth, building generational wealth, because you're a chosen person?
The balance is...
Forget even being chosen, for the betterment of my people.
Yeah. Exactly. A why.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot.
I totally agree with you.
That's heavy.
In every way.
That's heavy.
That's the reason
That's
why
heavy.
we'll go get wealth, and then over time it just disappears.
Yeah.
It may disappear within one generation.
Instance.
From
Yeah.
from this family
One
to
instance.
the next family, it may dissolve
Yeah.
because that why,
It's not crazy.
that deep rooted
Yeah.
reasoning behind it is not there.
So we must start figuring out who we are then, because think about when you ask yourself why. Think about that mental process when you're breaking down why. You pretty much know
goes back to who you are.
Exactly. You pretty much know who you are, or you're at least trying to figure out who you are. I think about when I asked myself my why. I was like, well, why am I passionate about this? Why would I want to do this? And I had to go back to where I'm from, okay? The city that I'm from. Interesting. And I start to make connections. I start to make sense of it. So then I start thinking, then why do I ever want to hurt my brothers? Why do I ever want to hurt my sisters? Like if my goal is to properly push them and push information and influence so that I can help, why would I ever want to hurt them? Your why is probably, bro, that's brilliant, bro. Your why is probably the biggest thing that you can ask yourself, because it almost, and not even almost, it forces you to challenge the person you are. It is the complete mirror that sits in front of you, and you have to say to yourself, how long am I going to do this?
And that starts to solve the motivation problem.
Absolutely.
It starts to solve the dissolving of resources and wealth problem. It starts to solve all those different problems, right? Because there's a reasoning and a deep-rooted, reason behind everything, man.
And not just your why. I think about this. Why are people asking themselves, why am I protesting?
Bro, I was about to
Why did George Floyd die? Why are we in 2020 and police brutality and things are happening
asking
similar
why
to
more in
1960? Why are we? Yeah, exactly. Like, and if you think about it, if you ask yourself why, that alone pushes you to go research.
Right.
Why things are happening the way they are? Why haven't things changed? Why are we still going through the same things, expecting different results?
Y'all know what I was listening to yesterday?
What's up?
I was listening to. I was doing. Me and B Wright. Shout out my boy B Wright. We were going to do like a quick real estate freelance job. And he had a BLM playlist. I hope he drops that soon. But that Jadakiss song came on. Why? And if you listen to the whys, why rappers gotta lie 85% of their lines, like so many different things, and like I'm just listening. I'm just like, yo, he made this song in like the early 2000s, and it's 2020,
And it still applies.
and it's every single line from the black man being systematically devaluated, being killed like he's a pig or something. You know what I mean? The lack of intention, like in our community, the lack of awareness, like being spread by like rappers, like like he's talking about all of this, and I'm just like, yo, like this is the why. We need to change all of these. Like we can't start asking new questions until we fix the old.
That's
ones.
true.
We can't open up new like a new can of worms until we fix the old problem. You know what I mean? And that's just where we are as a people. Like that, we have to figure this out. We can't keep trying to skip the storybook and skip the chapter books and like going and try to get rich without figuring out like
Why we in this situation?
why are we in this situation in the first place? What can we do to be better? What have the people who've already laid out plans, groundwork, Claude Anderson, let's even look at Martin Luther Kings of the world. Let's look at the civil rights movement. Let's look at the things that the Black Panther Party did. Oh my God, bro! Look at the things that the Black Panther Party did. They they have the game plan, and none of us know. None of us even looks at it. But it's all about why. Like why we won't even look at that stuff because it doesn't apply to our why in the moment. We have no purpose. Without purpose, every man shall perish.